Do this if you want a woman to chase you forever. There's a mistake most men make, and they don't even realize it. They think attraction is something you earn, something you prove, something you fight for. So they talk more, they text more, they explain themselves, they try harder. And slowly, without noticing, they lose the one thing that made her interested in the first place. Here's the truth no one tells you. The moment you start chasing, you stop being chased. And if you don't understand this now, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Different woman, same outcome. But today, that changes. Because what you're about to learn isn't manipulation. It's not tricks. It's not games. It's something far more powerful. It's control. Not control over her, but control over yourself. And that is what makes her chase you. Before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're someone who wants to move differently, think differently, and become the kind of man people can't ignore, you're in the right place. Now, let's continue. The first thing you need to understand is this. Women don't chase what's available. They chase what feels just out of reach. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because human nature values what isn't easily owned. If you're always there, always replying instantly, always agreeing, always available, you become predictable. And predictability kills attraction. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how people become more interested when you pull back slightly? When you stop over-explaining? When you stop trying to impress? When you stop proving your worth? Suddenly, they start noticing you more. That's not a coincidence. That's psychology. Stoicism teaches something most people ignore. You don't control how others feel about you. You control how you show up. And ironically, when you stop trying to control their feelings, you become more attractive. Because now, you're grounded. You're not reacting. You're not chasing. You're not seeking validation. You're simply existing in your own frame. So what exactly should you do? Simple, but not easy. You need to become emotionally self-sufficient. That means you don't depend on her attention to feel good. You don't depend on her replies to feel secure. You don't depend on her approval to feel valuable. And when you reach that state, something shifts. You stop needing her. And that's when she starts wanting you. Let's go deeper. Most men lose attraction because they reveal too much, too soon. They tell her everything. They respond instantly. They try to be perfect. But perfection is boring. There's no tension, no curiosity, no mystery. And without mystery, there's nothing to chase. So instead, you speak less. You reveal slowly. You let her wonder. Because when a woman starts wondering about you, she starts thinking about you. And when she starts thinking about you, she starts chasing you. Another thing you must understand. Stop overvaluing her. This is where most men get it wrong. They meet a woman and immediately place her on a pedestal. They treat her like she's rare, like she's above them, like she's the prize. And the moment you do that, you lower your own value. Stoicism teaches balance. You don't underestimate people, but you don't overestimate them either. She's human. just like you. She has flaws. She has insecurities. She has doubts. When you see her clearly, not as perfection, but as a person, you naturally stop chasing. And when you stop chasing, you become someone worth chasing. Now, listen carefully. Silence is one of your strongest tools. Most men talk too much. They explain, they justify, they try to fix everything. But a man who is comfortable with silence is a man who has control. When she pulls back, you don't panic. When she takes time to reply, you don't overthink. When things feel uncertain, you don't chase clarity. You stay calm. And that calmness is rare. And rare is attractive. If you're still here, you're already ahead of most people. Make sure you subscribe, because this kind of mindset will completely change how you move in life, not just in relationships. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Purpose. A man without purpose will always chase people. A man with purpose is chased by people. Why? Because his energy is focused elsewhere. He's building something. He's growing. He's improving. He doesn't have time to sit around waiting for messages or attention. And that creates distance. Not intentional distance, but natural distance. And that distance creates attraction. Here's something powerful. When a woman feels like she's not your main focus, she becomes more focused on you. Not because you're ignoring her, but because you're not centered around her. You have your own world, your own goals, your own standards, your own direction. And she can either step into that world or step away. But you don't change your path for her. That level of self-respect is magnetic. Another thing. Stop reacting emotionally to everything. If she cancels plans, stay calm. If she delays replies, stay calm. If she tests your patience, stay calm. Because emotional reactions signal one thing: attachment. And too much attachment, too early, pushes people away. Stoicism teaches emotional control, not suppression. Control. You feel things, but you don't let them control your actions. And when you operate like that, you become stable. And stability in a chaotic world is incredibly attractive. Let's talk about validation. Most men give it away too freely. Compliments every second, constant reassurance, endless attention. But here's the truth. What is given too easily loses value. So instead, be selective. Not cold, not rude, just intentional. When you give attention, it should mean something. When you compliment, it should feel earned. Because when she realizes your validation isn't automatic, she starts working for it. And when she starts working for it, she starts chasing. Now imagine this version of yourself. You're calm, focused, purpose-driven. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't over-explain. You show interest, but you don't lose yourself. You care, but you don't depend. You're present, but not predictable. That version of you, that's the man she thinks about. That's the man she wonders about. That's the man she chases. Before we close, take this in. This is not about making someone obsessed with you. It's about becoming someone who naturally attracts. Someone who doesn't need to force attention. Someone who doesn't lose himself trying to be liked. Because the truth is, the right person doesn't need to be chased. They respond to energy. And when your energy is grounded, calm, and self-controlled, they come closer. If this shifted your mindset even a little, make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because this is where you learn how to move with power, clarity, and control. And most importantly, start applying this. Don't just listen. Move differently. Think differently. Become different. Because once you do, you won't need to chase anyone ever again. Let's be honest for a second. Most men don't lose women because they're not good enough. They lose them because they try too hard to be enough. And that pressure, that constant need to prove yourself, it leaks. In your texts, in your tone, in your timing, in your silence. She can feel it, even if she can't explain it. There's something about a man who is trying to be liked that makes him less likable. And there's something about a man who doesn't need approval that makes people want to give it to him. That's the shift. And if you didn't fully understand part 1, this is where it becomes real. Before we go deeper, subscribe to the channel, because what you're hearing right now, most people will never tell you this directly. And if you actually apply it, your entire presence will change. Let me tell you something most people won't admit. You don't chase her because you like her. You chase her because you're afraid to lose her. And that fear, that's what ruins everything. Because fear makes you rush. Fear makes you overtext. Fear makes you ignore red flags. Fear makes you accept less than you deserve. You start lowering your standards just to keep her. And the moment you do that, you lose her anyway. Here's the reality. Attraction doesn't grow in pressure. It grows in space. When you're always there, she has no room to feel your absence. And if she never feels your absence, she never feels the need to reach for you. That's why distance, healthy distance, is powerful. Not distance as a game, but distance as a result of having a life, a real life, a life that doesn't revolve around her. Think about this carefully. If she disappeared for 2 days, would your mood change? Would your focus drop? Would your energy shift? If the answer is yes, then you've already given her too much control. And people don't chase what they already control. They chase what they might lose. This is where most men struggle. They hear "don't chase" and they think it means "don't care." That's not it. You can care without losing yourself. You can show interest without becoming desperate. You can like someone without needing them. That balance? That's power. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Sometimes she pulls away on purpose. Not because she doesn't like you, but because she's testing your emotional stability. She wants to see, will you panic? Will you chase? Will you break your frame? And most men fail this test immediately. They double text. They ask, "What's wrong?" They try to fix something that isn't broken, and in doing that, they show her they can't handle uncertainty. But a man who stays calm, a man who continues his life like nothing changed, that's the man she respects. Because now she knows you're not controlled by her behavior. And here's the truth nobody wants to say. Respect comes before attraction. If she doesn't respect you, she won't chase you. She might talk to you. She might entertain you. She might even keep you around. But she won't chase you. Respect is built when you have standards, when you don't tolerate inconsistency, when you don't reward bad behavior, when you're willing to walk away. Yes, walk away. That's the part most people avoid, because walking away feels like losing. But in reality, it's the only way you win. Because the moment you show you can leave, you show you're not dependent. And nothing is more attractive than a man who can leave without anger, without drama, just calm certainty. Now let's go deeper into something even more real. Your time, your attention, your energy. These are currencies, and most men spend them recklessly. They give attention to anyone. They reply instantly to everything. They make themselves too available. And when something is always available, it loses value. Think about that. Imagine two scenarios. One man replies instantly every time, always available, always ready. Another man replies when he's free, busy, focused, not glued to his phone. Which one feels more valuable? Exactly. It's not about playing games. It's about having a life that naturally limits your availability. Let me say something that might hit hard. If your entire day revolves around waiting for her message, you're not in control of your life. And she can feel that, even through a screen. Energy travels, and desperation is loud, even in silence. If you're still watching, this is where it changes for you. Subscribe now, because this mindset will separate you from the average. Now let's talk about emotional discipline, because this is where everything either builds or collapses. You don't react immediately. You observe. You don't assume. You understand. You don't chase clarity. You allow things to reveal themselves. Because the truth always shows with time. And a patient man, he sees everything. Another truth. Stop trying to be the perfect guy. Perfect is predictable. Perfect is safe. Perfect is boring. Instead, be real. Have opinions. Have boundaries. Have a backbone. Disagree sometimes. Not aggressively, but confidently. Because attraction needs tension, and tension comes from individuality. Now imagine this moment. She doesn't hear from you for a while. Not because you're ignoring her, but because you're busy building your life. She checks her phone. Nothing. She starts wondering. What is he doing? Why hasn't he texted? Is he talking to someone else? And just like that, her attention shifts. Not because you chased it, but because you created space for it. This is the part most people miss. Chasing pushes people away, but presence, when it's controlled, pulls them closer. Let's close this with something powerful. If you want a woman to chase you forever, don't focus on her. Focus on becoming the man worth chasing. Build your life. Build your discipline. Build your mindset. Because at the end of the day, this was never about her. It was about you. There's a stage most men never reach. Not because it's complicated, but because it's uncomfortable. It's the stage where you finally realize you don't actually want to chase anymore. Not because you're tired, not because you got hurt, but because you've seen the truth clearly. Chasing was never love. It was attachment. And attachment without control becomes weakness. Let's go deeper, because this is where everything separates. You see, most men are not rejected. They are revealed. Revealed as impatient. Revealed as insecure. Revealed as emotionally dependent. And women don't run from men. They run from what those men represent. Instability, neediness, lack of direction. That's what kills attraction. Not your looks, not your money, not your background. Your energy. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, because what you're learning here isn't just about relationships. It's about becoming a man who cannot be easily shaken. Let's talk about control. Real control is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't try to impress. It doesn't react loudly. It simply exists. And when you have that kind of control, people feel it. You walk differently. You speak differently. You respond differently. You don't rush. You don't over-explain. You don't seek approval. And that alone changes how people treat you. Now here's something most men won't admit. They're afraid of being replaced. That's why they chase. That's why they overgive. That's why they tolerate disrespect. Because deep down, they believe someone else can take their place. But a man who knows his value, he doesn't think like that. Because he understands something powerful. He's not competing. He's selecting. Let that sink in. You're not here to compete for attention. You're here to decide who deserves yours. And when you shift into that mindset, everything changes. You stop trying to impress. You start observing. You stop performing. You start evaluating. And suddenly, the dynamic flips. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Emotional independence. This is where most men fail, silently. They look strong on the outside, but inside, they're waiting. Waiting for a reply. Waiting for attention. Waiting for validation. And that waiting, it weakens you. Because it puts your emotional state in someone else's hands. Stoicism teaches something simple but powerful. If you rely on something outside of you for peace, you will always be unstable. So what do? You build a life where your peace doesn't depend on anyone. Not her messages, not her mood, not her presence. You enjoy it when it's there, but you're not broken when it's gone. That's power. Now, let's get real. There will be moments where you want to reach out. where you want to text first, where you want to ask questions, where you want clarity. And sometimes that's okay. But here's the difference. You do it from a place of calm, not anxiety. You do it because you want to, not because you need to. That distinction? That's everything. Because people can feel the difference. Let's talk about attraction at its core. Attraction isn't built on effort. It's built on perception. How she sees you, how she feels around you, how she interprets your behavior. And perception is shaped by one thing: consistency. Not consistency in texting, but consistency in who you are. If you're calm today, be calm tomorrow. If you're focused today, stay focused tomorrow. Don't switch energy based on her behavior, because inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion kills trust. Here's something deeper. Stop trying to win her over. You're not in a game, you're in a life. And in your life, people either align with you or they don't. And if they don't, you let them go. Not angrily, not emotionally, just naturally. Because forcing alignment always leads to misalignment later. Now imagine this version of you. You're not chasing, you're not waiting, you're not overthinking, you're living. You wake up with purpose, you move with intention, you speak with clarity. You don't rush connections, you let them build or fade naturally. And because of that, you become rare. And rare things, they are chased. Let's talk about silence again, but deeper this time. Silence is not just absence of words, it's presence of control. When you don't react immediately, you give yourself power. When you don't respond emotionally, you maintain your frame. When you don't chase closure, you protect your peace. And in that silence, you observe everything. Who reaches out? Who puts effort? Who values your presence? Silence reveals truth. Here's the reality most people avoid. Not every woman will chase you, and that's okay, because the goal isn't to attract everyone, it's to attract the right ones. The ones who see your value without needing constant proof. The ones who match your energy, not drain it. The ones who choose you without pressure. If you're still here, you're not like most people. Subscribe to the channel, because this level of understanding, it changes everything. Now, let's bring it all together. If you want a woman to chase you forever, stop focusing on making her chase. Focus on becoming someone who doesn't need to chase. Because when you remove the need, you remove the pressure. And when you remove the pressure, you create space. And in that space, attraction grows. This is not about manipulation. This is not about control over others. This is about mastery over yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your time, your attention. Because once you master those, you don't need to force anything. Things come to you naturally. If this series changed how you think, don't stop here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, because this is where you learn how to move with clarity, discipline, and power. No chasing, no begging, no losing yourself. Just control. And remember this, the strongest man in the room is not the loudest. He's the one who doesn't need anything to feel complete. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Stay unshaken. I'll see you in the next one.